He's so cute, dude. Alright, okay. Let's see. Let's find one more video from this guy, maybe. What do we have? The true story about chimps. We have to watch it. Shout out to all my monkey boys in chat. Alright, chimp squad. Let's effing see it. Let's see what we got going on here. I will watch this and we're gonna be our chat.
Hey kids, so we all know that, as far as living things go, humans win, not even a contest. But it turns out, if you hop to the next genome over and look real carefully, you can actually see a basic version of a lot of the stuff that makes us so great. Here's some stories about what chimpanzees can get down to in the right context. Talk about chimp tails. Now, North Korea's Pyongyang Central Zoo has a colorful history, from its humble beginnings as literally just 50 badgers in a fence, to the parrot they taught to recite poetry praising Kim Il-sung, to being the only place in Pyongyang where you can look at a dog legally. It seems the only thing that's remained constant throughout this zoo's life is that it's fucking depressing. Fortunately, both workers and animals alike found ways to cope, one of which is smoking. Azalea the chimp is currently 13 years old and is one of the shining stars of Pyongyang Zoo, purely for her ability to burn through over a pack a day. Now, I like a good old-fashioned smoking chimp as much as the next guy, but whereas most zookeepers would probably try to talk her out of something so unhealthy, the North Korean ones actually gave her supplies, just like, feeling trapped? Welcome to the club, pal. Her skills are actually pretty impressive. Not only can she use a lighter, but in a pinch, she also knows the old schoolyard trick of lighting one ciggy with the other. Just a shame that her mind wasn't put towards something a little more healthy.
Yo, do your tits hang low? Do they wobble? Do they wobble?
You're productive. Nah, you know what? That's pretty dope, actually. I'm happy with that. Flashback to 1954. A chimp named Congo was born in the London Zoo. Little did anybody know, this ape was a prodigy. Out of curiosity, one of his zookeepers, named Desmond Morris, decided to give Congo a pencil and a piece of cardboard to see what he'd do. Almost immediately, he started drawing some rudimentary lines and shapes. Morris was like, whoa, and decided to let him try painting on for size. And what he saw was incredible. Congo created these beautiful renderings with a blend of realism and self-expression that would make even the great masters stare in awe. Nah, just fucking with you, they're garbage. But for a non-human, there's still something to be appreciated here. Congo had at least a very basic sense of composition. Like, you can see there's some balance to the images. Matter of fact, when his handler would make shapes on one side of the page, Congo would deliberately mark up the other side to maintain some kind of symmetry. Nice. He also had an artist's sense of self-entitlement, because whenever his owner tried to take away a picture before Congo thought it was finished, he'd literally go apeshit, all throwing a fit and screaming till they gave it back. But hey, painting done by a chimp. You know who likes pointless novelties like that?
He's like, it's not done yet, bro. It's not done yet. Let me cook. Let me cook. Proceeds to fling black paint on it. That's it. That's good. It's done.
Incredibly rich. In 2005, 3 of Congo's paintings were up for auction next to works by 2 obscure little
Chad, figure out which one was not the monkey.
Artists known as Andy Warhol and Pierre-Auguste Renoir. And while the 2 actual artist pieces went completely unsold, these 3 beauties got picked up for the scant price of over $25,000 US. And the guy was like, wow,
they got an effing monkey printing NFTs.
Felt something for a second there. I really like the watermark on this, by the way. Like, this is my painting done by a chimp. Anyway, next we have this beast called Washo. Washo was the first non-human creature to learn to communicate through sign language. That's right, eat shit, Coco.
Wait, no way.
Prior experiments in chimp communication had attempted to teach him some basic spoken language, but after realizing that chimps are physically incapable of making most of the noises we do, they decided signing would be the better option. Washo was raised in an environment similar to what a human child would experience, complete with toys, clothes, chores, and even being allowed to sit at the dinner table, in spite of what the Bible clearly says about that. The scientists raising Washo made sure to only communicate in American Sign Language around her, in the hopes of establishing a true conversational rapport. Initially, they took a traditional Pavlovian approach by rewarding proper use of a new sign with food and tickles. But there were a couple problems with this. Firstly, the simple action
monkeys like getting tickled? Why would I ask? Why would you know that?
Reward setup meant that Washo didn't have to really understand the words she was signing. Same way a parrot saying I love you in a YouTube video always does it with those cold, unfeeling eyes. True. Secondly, Washo would break into a laughing fit whenever they tickled her, to the point where the lesson would be essentially over. So the researchers abandoned this and instead just let her learn through observation of her caretaker signing, with much better results even in the total absence of reward stimuli. And the only downside was that the job title of designated chimp tickler ceased to exist. In total, Washo learned around 350 individual signs in ASL, and she'd even use these to formulate novel phrases for new objects. Like one time she wanted to talk about a thermos, but didn't know what a thermos was. She goes, metal cup drink. Hey,
Hey, that's pretty good.
A similar story comes from a chimp named Lucy, who was raised by one Dr. Maurice Temerlin and his wife, Jane. The tale of Lucy's life is why this woman is now officially the third most famous woman named Jane who worked with apes. In the same vein as Washoe, the pair attempted to gain some insight into Lucy's weird chimp noggin by raising her like you would a human. You know, dressing herself.
This was the saddest story. I looked at this story was so sad.
Using silverware, making tea, looking at magazines, pretending she knows what a word is, all that jazz. But as Lucy matured, things took an ugly turn. For once, as she was brought up in a basically human environment, she eventually discovered the time-tested human pastime of alcohol. The pair would leave bottles of gin around their home with Lucy, which I don't know how you'd make this mistake twice, but it was apparently a common occurrence for them to leave her alone for too long and come back like, honey? I think the monkey's fucking wasted. Again. Another one of her hobbies was sculpting crude human heads out of poop. Her own poop, to be clear. They also left some copies of Playgirl magazine around for Lucy to flip through.
This is the weirdest thing. This part effed on my mind. This junk effed on my mind. Have you ever seen, oh, I'm into bestiality? Just understand that apparently animals are too.
Which she became very fond of. So fond, in fact, that she was caught multiple times, having relations with the vacuum cleaner. I don't understand the mechanics of it, because no source I found ever went into detail. And
apparently she used the vacuum cleaner to give her the suck while looking at porn of men. Crazy.
Believe me, I wanted to know as much as you do. All I know is that, all things considered, some pretty exemplary tool use there. So the pair saw this and they were like, alright, we gotta get this chimp laid, and fast. But the problem was, Lucy was
I can't believe how smart it is, you know? Like how smart she is.
Conversing with people, eating with people, flicking the old chimp bean to people. So it's not a stretch to think that Lucy thought she was people. So imagine you're people, and you get thrown into an enclosure with a full-grown, horny male chimp. You'd have a fucking panic attack. And that's just what Lucy did. As the years went on, Lucy got more and more violent.
Like she literally didn't even know that she's a monkey. She doesn't even think, she thinks she's a human, not a monkey. And so when they bring her to another monk, she's like, A, you're ugly, and B, what the frick?
Literally trashing the place to get out the frustration of not being able to comprehend what was so fundamentally unnatural about her existence. Finally, the couple had had enough and decided to take Lucy to a primate rehabilitation center in the Gambia, with the hopes that she could be forced to acclimate to primate life. She could barely cope with it at first, getting real depressed and hardly associating with the other apes. Which you'd be depressed too if you had to give up a life of American luxury complete with booze and vacuum fornicating to go live with chimps in the wild. But with the help of a graduate student named Janice, Lucy eventually came to accept her fate, and although she'd never mate with another of her kind, she ended up getting along with her troop well enough. About a year after leaving the rehab center, Janice came back to visit, and Lucy gave her a warm embrace before waddling back to the rest of the chimps. Aww. Then Lucy got poached like a fucking egg, which kinda puts a damper
She got being killed by random hunters.
On the whole happy ending, but you know. Whatever. So if there's one lesson to be gained from all this, it's that the best way to learn something is to be immersed in it and to make it part of you. While treats are good for making dogs do backflips, true comprehension comes from integrating new things into your daily life. And what better way to do that than with some free audio?
They convinced an ape that it was a human, and then they treated it like an ape. It's so effing cool.
Sponsor time. Listening to audiobooks inspires us, motivates us, even brings us closer. And there's no better place to listen than Audible. If you want something kind of like what I do, except actually funny and well informed.
That was depressing, but a fun, interesting story. Okay.